Ooh,
Hello out there. Happy Wednesday to you.
happy Wednesday. Different day of the with this. Yeah, we're technically like a week off, I think. Anyway, so if you're dialing in, this isn't a normal week that we're live, but we're live here for you to talk about our latest topic. But give a couple minutes for people to join as a room.
For sure. Sorry, my energy isn't there yet, but it will get there. I just woke up from a nap and it was feeling so mighty good. And I just scarfed down food right before this because then I woke up starving. But
So you may or may not get energy back because you might have the itis.
my head itis. Actually, should have got. Oh, I got the lemonade right there, girl. What I did though, um, actually, I'll tap into it a little bit later, but had Sweetgreen for dinner. So this was just a snack. I was so happy being up in Sweetgreen, just smiling. They're probably like, "Why is this girl cheese is so hot? It's so salad."
That place is
Oh,
really good.
I love it. I might go back tomorrow. Um, that and then I was plotting on a little brunch spot in the morning. We'll see. I was like, just reflecting. I'm like, okay, what am I up to? Eating.
True. If you guys are joining, make sure you put a comment in the chat. Let us know you're here. Welcome to the Get Real Sisters podcast. We
I don't
record an
know.
episode every month, and then we also go live every month to bring y'all even more into the conversation.
Yeet. Um, this previous episode was one of my favorites. Of course, Shanice and I were talking, and I was like, shoot, like I could have kept going on and on and on about it. And who knows, maybe we'll have to hit you with a part two coming not too soon, shake it up some bits. But so what was the topic? Let's just kind of summarize that. Um, Giving space, backup fool, right? Giving space not only to yourself but to others when necessary, even if you're uncomfortable, even if you don't want to do that. um, Finding it in you to understand, to dig in, to get a little bit deeper, identify that by giving space you are growing as well as others, the other ones around you.
Sometimes that could mean growing apart, but the hope is that it actually makes you stronger if you're able to come back after giving that time. Yeah, it definitely seemed like we could have kept going, and I think there's definitely so many different ways that you could give space or different reasons why you would want to give space. Um, so for anyone that is watching, if you guys have any personal experiences with being successful in giving space or not being successful in giving space, it kind of ties into what our what's the word activity was, which we did make an update that the what's the word activities are part of our pre-recorded episode. So if you didn't catch that, it is at the end of that video if you wanted to rewatch. But essentially, we were trying to task people with figuring out or going through your memory banks, or if you ran across the situation between the time that we posted that video of a time where you should have or could have given space. And what would you envision the outcome would have been if you went and gave that space? So that was what's the word activity. And honestly, me and Jasmine were saying how this was kind of hard for us because, or at least for me, it was hard because I couldn't necessarily think of a time that like I didn't give the space. And I'm not saying that I did like I did it earlier. It was never. It was just really hard to like think of a specific example. But that was a break.
That was same for me.
Yeah.
Same for me. And like we were thinking hard, right? So it was like, wait a second, and it's not, but by no means is it saying that there wasn't an opportunity. And maybe there's someone out there that's looking, looking at us individually and being like, you could have definitely given space. Like, what are you talking about? How could you forget? So sorry if you're watching this and it's you, but tell me
if you needed the
tell me.
space.
Right. Maybe we could collab and I can learn some things of why I didn't see that you needed space and why I didn't give it to you at that time. Or again, it might not be someone out there. It could be you. And for me personally, that's what, if I had to say someone, right, I couldn't come to the table with absolutely nothing. I could say that there is a moment, or many moments actually rather, where I could have and should have given myself more space. I'm trying to think of like a specific example of a recent situation. I'm going to do a general real quick and then I can give a specific, but like the general example of not giving myself space is knowingly watching myself like having the feelings and emotions of like a depressive state or like unmotivated, which why I'm saying that is like, I know when there's certain triggers of mine, right? Of me being upset, becoming unmotivated to work out, to work on Exclusive Queen, these kind of things where I should have given my space from the day to day, right? I'm so driven and focused on, let me, go to my, first job. Let me go to the backup job. Let me clean the house. Let me cook. But I'm not doing absolutely anything for myself to clear my head, to reset, to, reorganize my life.
You're basically distracting
Yeah.
yourself, and it's not working through those feelings.
Exactly. And then it just leads to more frustration, lack of confidence, and again, the unmotivation. And truthfully, me being, so more specific example is actually me being out here. And I think earlier today is when it really set with me, where I'm like, Jazz, I just recently joined some, accountability groups online and like, what am I saying? Groups that like basically to meet, Black women out there and increase my network, also fitness, right? I've been saying, like, I was like, since I moved, I am someone that believes, swears up and down of a trainer, having a personal trainer. And I'm just someone that I believe I need that in my life. And I haven't done it. So now coming here, what I was just saying, what I've been doing this whole time, granted, I've been visiting, having a great time, seeing family, friends, but eating. And it's a beautiful thing. Now, when I was working out real hard, it didn't matter what I was eating. I was eating everything, doing everything every single day, whatever. Perfect. Now your girl's starting to see some filling out in some areas. I need to get it together. I need to give myself that space to know, girl, get it together. No.
That's not real. I mean, my opinion, like,
yeah, I know it's like your opinion. Anytime I talk about anything on my fitness, you like, that don't even count.
Oh, well, I was even going to say something about that. You already know that. I was saying, like, for me, like, I don't know, giving space makes me think more like how you started, like depression, like heavy things. Where are you saying the fitness piece is connected to your feelings of depression or something?
I'm not, let me just be clear, I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
By any means. Right. So that was for this situation, not saying I'm depressed, but me not working out and remaining consistent in that path, it's unmotivated. I'm unmotivated. I'm not in a space, like, right, when I'm out there working out, focused on like my future dreams of goals of, making Exclusive Queen more successful, impacting women on a larger scale. Not doing that first, and you're like, okay, so how does fitness again tie into this? Fitness for me is when I'm doing fitness, when I'm worried about myself, my health, eating right, I'm the best version of myself. And I think that's how I have to come every single time to be. I don't know if I'm like, I don't feel like I'm explaining this in a good way that's making you understand, or even making myself understand. But fitness is a big piece. And when I'm unmotivated with my fitness or my health, rather, I think everything else kind of falls in that same path.
Okay. So how does that relate to your need to give space? Like in this example, what would you be giving? How would you be giving space?
Take it. So mine is literal space. So taking space away from my normal day to day. So not being back home, working, taking a vacation, right? Like my space is the knowing of I'm at the point where I need to reset. This week I am resetting and it feels so good, right? Like finding these coffee and tea shops that I've been dying to do. Going on walks, just putting my little instrumentals on and in my big ass headphones, my white headphones. I found a little spot today where like there was chairs. I just sat out there and read. Like it was just that space of being like, again, being able to, I believe, enter into next week, in the weeks to come and months to come, refreshed, rejuvenated, with a plan instead of just like.
So that makes more sense. Like the space is basically allowing yourself to not be able to distract yourself with the day to day and be more present, I guess, in the moment and doing what you want to do and the things that actually make you feel good, basically.
You summed it up perfectly, girl. See, I was just coming off that nap. I needed your assistance.
Same scale. Yeah, I needed to piece these puzzles. I know still hard, but I don't know if I can get super specific to a specific time because these pockets have come up in different time frames. But I'd say for me, what I'm still working on is being able to gauge when I need to give space to my almost 14-year-old Layla. Um, you know, recently and like on and off the last few years, any of y'all that have teenagers, I'm praying for you, so pray for me, please. Um, everyone says that these are really hard years, not just for like the teen, but for the parent as well. So a lot of, normal teenage puberty hormones, all that, and then sprinkle in a bit of, you know, our own personal life journeys that aren't always perfect. I don't necessarily want to get too super specific in some of the things. Um, but I do notice that even if it's something sorry, something in my throat.
Careful.
Even if it's something minor, like I don't know. Let's say this is something super minor. So there's a variety, and some things are a lot deeper than this example. But before the school year started, there was a time where Layla was asking for like a later bedtime or something like that. And there's instances where she will present either an alternative to the way she knows that I think, or the way she knows I like to keep order in a sense. And when we don't agree, like I can't really get her point of why she wants to stay up later, or she doesn't get the point of, why her bedtime is a certain time because she has a hard time getting up in the morning. Like there's a disconnect between our perspectives and our opinions. So we just kind of like butt heads. Like there's really no give or take in the conversation, even if I'm trying to have the conversation, because she's taking anything I'm saying as I'm not hearing her, basically. And that was really, and again, there's multiple different situations, but it's a hard pill for me to honestly swallow, that sometimes if she doesn't agree, she'll end up doing what I mentioned I do sometimes, like when I'm not happy, is to shut down, give minimal responses, one word answers, shrug of the shoulders, like I don't want to talk. So we've been running into that where sometimes I'm still trying to have the conversation. I'm still trying to figure out, okay, how can I help? Like, I don't understand. I'm trying to understand, but I'm asking more questions. I'm trying to pry more and more out of her. And um, I'm needing to find different ways to come off with still being able to give the reinforcement that I'm here and I do need or want this information because it's going to be helpful for our growth as, that parent-child relationship.
Mhm.
Um, but also allowing her to, feel how she feels without me needing to right away get some type of concrete answer to whatever my questions are. Um, because I think at her age too, like I try really hard to like remember, like it's not that long ago. Like I'm not trying to make myself extra old or anything, but it's really hard to remember exactly how you felt at that age, and then knowing that someone at that age is looking at their parent like you just don't get it, you don't understand, and um realizing that even though she is younger than me and even though I care a whole lot to want to try to find a solution for her as soon as possible, sometimes I need to back up and be like, all right, she needs to figure out some things on her own until she gets to the point where she's comfortable to discuss it more openly, where I can now see what I can do. Um, so
I'm sure a lot of people on here right now, or maybe rewatching, that are parents, mothers, have either experienced this already, about to, or have dealt with it countless times. And I think um, one, it's hard as a parent, especially because you're coming from a space of experience, of the knowledge, and as you said, and I have that very strong personality as well. It's like, no, like, if I want, how can I help you? How? Like, that's all I want to do, and that's why I'm going to use the word so passionate about these conversations that you want to have, but it can lead to one, pushing someone further away, shutting down completely, um, which leads me to wonder, how do you, or how should we assess when to give the space and how long you should give that space? Maybe how to give that space.
yeah, I was actually gonna. You actually reminded me that was like half of my like one of my questions I was gonna ask you too, because even if it's giving the space to yourself, I think that's like the whole trick of it. It's like, when do you know when to give space? When do you know when to start it, when to stop it? And like you said, how? Like, space doesn't necessarily mean you don't talk at all.
Right.
It could mean that you're just not talking about that subject until
Yeah.
they're ready, you know? And I feel like that's kind of like where me and Layla are right now, is like we're more so at a place that we can talk about certain things, but just not the
Right.
primary subject that we're butting. Not
Right.
even butting heads. I don't even want to say that for the like what's recently come up. Like, it's just more of a not a full understanding and not in a total agreement of what the best next steps are.
No doubt.
Um, but yeah, like anybody, if anybody's watching here and has any thoughts on, especially like this is just one of those other not tangents, but other branches of this give space topic, where what do parents do? What do parents do when you're trying to do your best for your kids and make the right decisions on their behalf, but also give them that autonomy to make certain decisions or have conversations when when they're when they're ready. I guess I have such a love and hate relationship with giving space, because I'm like, certain parts of it I'm like, yes, until someone's ready. So whoever's involved, until I'm ready, they're ready, whoever. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes you need a class of pressure.
I do too. And what I was thinking of, just like how you can, because obviously I feel like giving space comes at different times, like you were saying, comes at different times for everyone. And I do think, regardless of age, family member, not family member, I think we should always keep that in mind. You know, but like specific to where I feel like we do there's a point you got to apply pressure. And that's where maybe entering in the conversation, right? If you're in the stance of, I'm trying to talk, I'm trying, like, let's get through this right now. And then the other person is just not receptive to that. And you could tell like their body language, or they're actually non-verbally telling you, right? Maybe, you know, the first go around is you expressing what your end goal is. Like, what is your ideal situation from this conversation, right? Like, okay, like, I just want you to know, like, I care so much about you. Like, and I'm not saying your situation, just in general, is popping in my head. Like, I care so much about you. And at the end of the day, like, I just want us to be able to have an open dialogue, an honest one, when when you're bothered. That way, one, I'm in the loop. And maybe I don't know the answers. Maybe I don't understand, but I can get resources, or I can make outreach to maybe someone that does. And that's my way of helping you. Right. I'm and express it in that way. So, that's my end goal of this conversation. I understand that don't want to talk about this right now. I'm going to give you that space. I think, we both could use some space at this point. How about we follow up on this, tomorrow? And, maybe the feedback or the comment back is, no, I'm not with it. Like, or maybe there's nothing. It's like, okay. And then come tomorrow, there's no conversation, right? Next day, no conversation. Now you're sitting there like, all right, I'm still feeling a little on edge here. And then, the next push is, hey, I know we had that conversation last week. Maybe you weren't ready the following day when we agreed we were going to circle back on it. But it is extremely important to me, and us not having this conversation is making me feel, and then kind of elaborate on that so they can.
Yeah. Cause I think it's really important, like, because these are all part of like also like goal building. Like the basics of goal building is that there's some type of follow through, and those follow throughs, the most successful ones, have some type of timeline.
Yeah.
There's somewhere where you're either doing a check in or expecting some type of results.
Right.
And, I think what the major problem sometimes, at least with the dynamic of myself and Layla, is she's young enough where she knows what goals mean, but she doesn't necessarily, I don't think it's not the word knows, because we've definitely had multiple conversation about like timeline and all that stuff, but either agrees or sees the point of the timeline part. So it makes it difficult to like balance the two. Is like, I'm trying to give you your space, and I'm trying to do what I can to not like make you feel like I'm overbearing on you, but I need to do some type of check-in to be able to assess, like, okay, like, is what we're doing working? Is it not? Do we need to switch something up? So yeah, it's a struggle. I think it's a struggle no matter what the situation is figuring out that particular balance. Like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do it? How long are we gonna do it for? Before there's a resolution, or before there's just cut the ties or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, would you say, like, when it comes to giving space, where you're struggling with giving that space, or finding that line, is it it's because there's consistent behavior of the dialogue not happening, or this is the example of a dialogue, but basically where I'm going with that is I feel like it's a buildup of frustration that you're now, come on, like, let's go with this. But what is that behavior that makes you feel like, oh, like, we need the timeline?
because without it, so say conversations happening leading up to now or recently,
Yeah.
the conversations are kind of like, okay, we're gonna have another conversation about this, no timeline. So by the time I happen to bring it back up, giving it a day, couple days, whatever, whatever I'm kind of gauging to do a check-in, there's still no additional information. There's still no additional like um what is the word I'm looking for? Like there's still not the willingness to be forthcoming
Mm-hmm.
with, what we need to talk about. Like, I'll share this. Like right now, there's, like I said, there's hormones. There's a sense of overwhelm that Layla's feeling, where it's leading her to feel depressed or depressive states,
Mm-hmm.
and we're having a hard time being able to have her verbalize it. Offered a couple different options, writing it down, talking, but without a timeline. So now that I've started putting timelines, there's pushback as far as feeling like there's more pressure being added to it. Um, when based on, like you said, my experience and my knowledge behind, you know, getting better with, not perfect, but getting better with effective communication, and how setting these goals with these particular check-in time frames or certain times where I'm expecting something, not all of it, not all the answers, or not the whole story of what might be going on, but at least something for us to like be able to hold on to as a nugget, so that we can use that nugget as a stepping stone to where we might need to go to get her, maybe not out of the feelings, because those types of things come and go.
Right.
They, may present for any number of reasons, but I think that's the problem, is that without the timelines, nothing is happening. And it's the same repetitive conversation, even though we're trying. My goal is to get more, to be able to help more. So
So what if it's like I don't want to say it was going to counter, but like, okay, so right, like we know the root or the, identified problem that we're hoping, and then what your main goal is at the end of it. You've set these timelines, nothing's happening, nothing's changing as far as being more forthcoming of what you're saying. What if it's like a reverse Uno joint where it's like, okay, like I understand, like you've tried to set that day, you guys agreed on that day, doesn't happen, no change. And it's like, okay, well, again, I just want to reiterate, my standpoint, or, what I'm hoping we can get to down the road. Here's my proposed suggestion, aka let's try this for this week and follow up at the end of the week. Because there's no, because with what you're saying, like the additional pressure, I agree needs to be there. And because not everybody is going to be.
yeah, because I feel like without it, so even if it needs to be extended,
Right.
without it at all, that's leaving that person, there's no expectation that this needs to actually be done. It's unlimited. It's to infinity and beyond. Like I can do this whenever, because nobody cares when I get back to them. Like that's
Right.
not it. And especially with how sensitive it is and how much worse it could get,
Yeah.
Right. But the timing part of it is kind of sensitive. Like there's bigger consequences to us not applying any type of pressures.
Agreed. So yeah, it is tough to find the in between of like not too much pressure, but a good pressure to be like, okay, we got to get some kind of motion. So say, just keep praying on it. Because, woo, honey. Or again, any parents that are in here that may be dealing with very similar of just having a tough time with your child or children, of when to give them space, how to give them space, how long is that space? What is the conversation? What does that look like? Sound like? Get detailed. I was literally earlier today when Sabrina was here. She was talking about serenity and same thing, just that teenage situation right now. And so y'all lean on each other and give some tips. I don't know what to tell y'all. Pray.
Sabrina, I might be hitting you up because yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I guess so. For the ones that are, and maybe again, not necessarily to give someone else space when it's maybe your space. But I guess I would say for both is it's good to identify when that space is needed. So you can pick up on triggers, demeanor, body language, all that kind of stuff when you be like, oh, okay, you know what? I had this conversation with myself of like, all right, if somebody shuts down, right? I know it might be time for me to back up a little bit. Or if I shut down, I need to give myself some space. I need to give the other person some space too. I need to give myself space. Feeling overwhelmed. I think for me, like, I was just thinking of the times that I have felt overwhelmed. There were many steps before that were clear signs of you need to take space. And I was just avoiding them. You know what I'm saying? So I think tapping into the moment I am feeling aggravated, frustrated, overwhelmed, stressed, all that stuff is when I might need to scale back.
Mm-hmm.
In all aspects. So like, okay, hold on one second. And then how long? Until that happiness comes around, or you feel comfortable enough. I don't necessarily think, but to your point, maybe there isn't a strict timeline, but there is that structure or pressure, or let's not even call it, because pressure to me sometimes sounds like a negative word. Accountability. There's an accountability time that you're like, okay, now, girl, like one of those.
Yeah.
I think is huge. So we talking about, again, for me, of like, what are the behaviors that might identify space is needed? How long do that space, should that space be given? When it feels good, loosely, kind of tight. And what do you do? I think that depends on the situation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, because even if it's like personal, like the length of time, like you're saying, like feeling happy, like I feel like it would be, I don't want to say good enough, but because I guess you could always like circle back to it if it's not something that would necessarily be resolved. If you gave yourself like 3 days or something random like that, like you may need to come back to it, but realize that there are things you need to take care of. Like you can't, we don't have, I mean, unless you're your own boss, which is nice, but we don't have necessarily unlimited time where we can't work or do stuff to pay our bills or put food in the house. Like it's things that could have been a distraction in the beginning or something like that. So you might have to do like mini spurts to be able to address whatever it is that you need space to heal too. So I don't think it needs to necessarily be all together, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And it's funny because my brain immediately went to, no, I'm going to challenge that. And I think it's really just because I'm in the space right now of gearing in that motivation of no, we're about to get after it. Okay. And what I was actually saying to myself earlier as my little instrumentals jamming, is I choose happiness, and I choose happiness with everything. And if it does not bring me happiness, going to result in happiness, it's not for me. And what I mean by that is, right, to say like life is life, reality is reality. You got to go to work until you have your own business, right? But I am going to scale back or give myself space if I feel like I'm not being my authentic self every single day. That's what I mean when I say I'm choosing happiness. Of if I don't want to go to work, I'm not saying I'm not going to go there for a month straight, but if I'm not feeling good in that moment, I'm going to take space. If it's been a rough,
I feel like that's not all the way realistic though. Like I think again in like spurts that would work out, but long term, until you are your own boss or just fall into a bucket of money or something, there what was I trying to say? It's I feel like it's not realistic to be like, if this isn't bringing me happiness, then I'm out, considering you can't always just be out. Like,
So wait, I think those are strong words. Of what I'm not saying though too is because I'm not saying out, I'm saying space.
well, yeah, I know.
Because out's completely different.
Not like completely out, but like for your example of saying, like, if you don't feel like going to work today, it might not be for a month. Like, and I get like mental health days or days where you're not necessarily sick and you're just like, all right, like I can't do this today. But what if you feel like that for the month?
Right. And I think that's when you have to, because it's valid, right? Like, because I don't want to sit here and then someone's like, Jasmine was over there talking about da 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 da. Now, I am very fortunate where there is no gray area. If I don't feel like doing that, I don't have to. And I'm still going to be fine. And I understand that that's not for everyone. And I think that's an extreme. So don't go that. But like you're saying, what if it is a month of you just feeling like, yo, this is not it for me? Tap into those additional resources. And sometimes those additional resources come from you talking it out with someone else. I'm feeling this, right? I'm not feeling the greatest. I'm not feeling like myself. I'm not happy. And that might have just been a vent session, but it's in your own way asking, well, you do need to be very specific, I think, too, of like, I need help. Identifying that you need help. You have to be the one that wants the difference. You need to be the one that wants the happiness. And it's not going to be as extreme of, again, taking 2 months off and traveling around the world, backpacking around, not caring.
Nice.
Right. That would be amazing. But okay, if you know what your reality, everyone knows what their own reality is. If your reality says, yeah, no, you used all your vacation time and you can't. Okay, well, small scale it. What can you do today to bring yourself a little bit more happiness? Choose happiness. So I think, I was originally speaking large scale, but I'm really saying even on the smaller, what can you do to choose happiness? So even in a dialogue, if you're aggravated, if you're in an argument or let me say disagreement, and you feel yourself getting elevated, you feel yourself getting more frustrated and the conversation not going anywhere, choose happiness. Hey, I'm gonna take space from this conversation. I think we're gonna agree to, or what's the phrase or whatever, like that.
Agree to disagree.
That's what we're gonna do on here. And maybe we'll circle back, maybe we won't, depending on what you want to do. Choose happiness. So
I feel it. My technical brain doesn't like generalizations.
No, I feel that one too. There's a lot of more others that I'm coming to understand are like that. I'm like, why are you guys like this? I don't mean that literal.
Literal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that's real. That's real. Y'all are real quiet today.
I know.
And that's okay, but we were hoping to pull a random person from our watchers to be able to give, more insight on this subject, whether it was I said that really weird.
Right,
subject.
You did. What accent was that?
I have no idea. But yeah, when we don't have a planned guest, sometimes we can just ask for y'all to pop on here to be able to talk more. We already gave you guys kind of our spiel, even though this one, again, like totally we could possibly come with a part 2 for just me and Jasmine's opinions about it. So these lives are really for you guys to be able to also come on here and have a voice and give us those different perspectives, because you could also really be helping us. Like, I'm dead serious with people putting stuff in the comments if you're a part of the replay crew, or if you're here to give some tidbits.
For sure. I just put a question in there and I'm going to pin it. So if anyone comes in after the fact, we want to, Shanice and I, as mentioned before, we talk all the time. I was just over our house yesterday. No shit. Actually, not kidding at all. if Tidy's watching this, actually, I'm about to share this on his page. He owes me a seafood broil. So,
Gives you a seafood boil.
yep. He texted me earlier today talking about if you don't call today, I'll DoorDash you a seafood boil. And I said,
Didn't call me today.
no, I
Oh,
didn't call
yeah.
you today, girl.
You're right. That was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. So sure did tell him bootleg special, shrimp and lobster. Thank you.
And tomorrow I'm gone.
Okay, and Will. 6:30. Good morning.
That's very funny.
Space though. It is I think it's a great thing to do. Today, like I said, today's space was amazing. And I was chuckling literally. I feel like I know I'm getting older, not super old, but just the little things I'm doing now, like the coffee and tea. So I forget who I was talking to earlier. Like, are you serious? And I'm like, yo, I just love it. Oh, girl, I was in the library today. I was in the bookstore. I said I should have took a picture. These folks gonna be proud. I doing that and like just like looking around. I was starting to get a little anxiety seeing everything. I said, okay, well, this was fun while it lasted. But they didn't have the 2 books I was looking for. So I was like, all right, let's keep it moving. But being in nature, I was like, I'm so happy. This space is amazing. And it's not like nothing crazy is popping on off of my life. Like, but it just feels really good to take the space to be outside, to do whatever I want without
No pressures from work or anybody. Yeah.
but anybody for real. I'm like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see I don't know who that is. With giving space, do you feel like for you sometimes the struggle is because you want control? The chuckle. It was the chuckle for me.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I do know that. I don't even want that sounds really bad. I don't want to sound like I'm controlling. No. And maybe it's the Leo in me.
Yes,
I
she
don't know.
is. I'm just kidding.
I just I don't even know how to answer that. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I
guess yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Part of it is I want to be able to not control the whole thing, but feel like I'm doing something.
Mm.
If I'm like part of the problem or part of what's going on, I want to feel like I'm doing something. And when I don't feel like I can do anything, yes, I feel like it's like a loss of control. And it bothers me a lot.
When to help to clarify a little bit, when you in these situations when you feel like because you want to be doing something, why is doing something so important to you as a person?
Because, or at least in the whole Layla thing, like I feel me doing something is like proving that I can help, I guess.
But why do you want to help?
I don't know what this is. This is the lie activity.
Come on, tying in some other things, and I think well, you know what this is. The people watching, I don't think caught on to that quick. But for those that and it wasn't intentional. I literally was just asking her a question. And then as soon as Shanice was saying it, I was like, actually, I know where this is going. I know where this is about to go. Go back and watch our episode talking about whys. We tap into an activity called the 7 whys. I'm going to just stop there because you need to go and watch it and you'll understand it a little more. So we're going to press play here. And so why is...
Oh, I thought you forgot about me.
Why is helping important?
because I care and love the people that I'm trying to help.
Okay. What about, I guess it's like, what about care and love is, it sounds like that's your focal point, but what does that do for you?
Um, I mean, it's a sense of fulfillment, I guess, for me. Like being able to help someone that's in need, whether they're related to me or not. Um, it it fulfills me to know that I was able to do something, whether it was to just listen, whether it was to show them, or share with them how I handled that situation or a similar situation, or um, get them in touch with someone, like you mentioned, getting them in touch with someone um, that could maybe shed a little bit more light to make it better. It just overall it and saying it out loud, it honestly kind of does sound a little selfish in a way. Like
Mm.
I, and I guess that's part of the control. I don't like that.
Ding, ding, ding.
I don't like that. That I like to have a hand in helping someone, and even if I'm not necessarily getting a thank you, oh my gosh, like you were so helpful, which is great because go back to our episode about love languages, words of affirmation is me. Um, Even if it was like indirectly, or I see that person doing really well, um, it it's like that ends up being the reward, them feeling better, doing better. Um, or if they end up coming back and being like, thank you for your help, even if it was something small, it it makes me feel good.
No doubt. Do you feel like it would be excessive to say in whole that you showing showing support, or not, no, no, not showing support, acting and doing things that you classify as support, because it might not, or care, it's important to you, it fulfills you, because in life, for you, making a larger impact in the worlds of others is important?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say yeah, definitely for sure. Um, and what just also sound negative, and I don't like this. So I don't like this why game today. Um, I was thinking because I thought your question was going to go in a different way. But it's also a sense of worthiness for me. Like
Mm,
it's kind of in a sense how I gauge my worthiness.
mm.
And I didn't really think about that like that until now.
And look at that.
I'm just thinking of like the parent example, like because I feel like I can't do much or I'm not really doing anything at this moment that I feel like is helping, I don't I don't feel completely worthy as a parent.
Mm. Oh,
And
girl.
I think a lot of parents, like that is something that they strive for, is being able to show their kids and teach their kids and love their kids in ways that either their parents didn't, or you want to do better than your parent or anything like that. And you never want your kids to feel to go through hard things, which I know is totally natural for them to do, but you know, what's natural for parents is to try to avoid have their kids avoid going through hard things because we know how much it hurts and it sucks. So yeah.
I think you just touched on so many things in such a short amount of words that I think a lot of us in pockets of our lives can relate to. But I think you tapping into that worthiness piece is your why, you know, of all of it, right? The original statement here was really, do you feel like you do they like about giving space? It's hard for you is because you want control, and like trickling down to it, it's you don't want control. It's because internally you are trying that's your way of assessing your worthiness. That's the way you interpret worthiness. And if and giving
Which is
space,
the way I impact
right,
people.
right. And maybe you giving space, you interpret that in your brain sometimes, like maybe unintentionally or whatever, like that you giving space, you are now no longer worthy. Wow, girl. That ain't true though. So, but I think we tapped into a topic that maybe needs a little bit more attention and love from you.
Facts. I need to give while the space is happening between two different parties. I need to give myself
Yeah.
some space, some grace.
Some TLC,
Mm.
worthiness. I think that's a topic right there.
True.
Shoot. Anybody in the room right now, anybody rewatching that is currently struggling with worthiness, that has struggled with worthiness? Let us know in the chat, because my brain right now is going 50,000 miles a minute thinking about this, because I think all of us in this world want to feel worthy. And our worthiness is that, I don't know if that's a word, but our worthiness is sis.
I don't think so.
What would be more? What would be the whatever? Y'all know what I'm trying to say.
Our worthiness.
Isn't that what I said?
You said worthiness is
Whatever. I think they're different in all of our lives. Like what that means to us. Right, me feeling worthy could be different than what makes you feel worthy.
and the way we come off, whether we don't think we're worthy,
Yep.
is a way that we communicate, and whether when we do feel like we're worthy, it can definitely alter how we communicate with people.
Yep.
So if you guys are feeling that, let us know. And if you have any specifics on how you'd want us to dive into a topic like that, definitely let us know.
Yeah. I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. And because worthiness, when I think of worthiness too, I think the words that immediately talk about, I think, I don't know why, but sometimes emotions, I immediately start thinking of words that remind me of them. And worthiness, I think about impact and purpose.
Mm-hmm. I can see those.
And in my eyes, right, one of my biggest questions, and one that I feel like I still work through, and I think everyone should work through, is what is my purpose here on earth? And I'm someone that does believe, and I know not everyone does, but I do believe all of us are here for a purpose. Not the same purpose, because we're all unique. It could be in the same path. You might cross each other at some point, but it's not the same exact thing. So worthiness, purpose, impact. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for sure. Well, it's wrapping this one up a little, we're already almost an hour in, and only because my brain again is going on this topic. And I'm like, let's
I had enough space. I need to think about something.
I need to put some things down on paper and talk this out.
Yeah. And like we said, because this could definitely go other avenues, we're clearly already thinking how this relates to another topic.
Right.
There's definitely more to come. So keep showing that love, keep sharing, keep liking. I think I posted it. I forget where I might have posted it just to our Instagram. But all the support has been so amazing. We're like, I think 5 people away from 100 followers on Instagram. So thank you everybody who's been doing that. Continue to share and, you know, come to us with these topics. We've loved incorporating them and getting the feedback from anybody that's been watching. So thank you so much.
We look forward to next month. We got another hot ass topic coming to you hot off of the press.
Which actually should be coming out next week. So we're behind. Right. So we're playing
November 1st. No, Wednesday, November 1st.
Oh, that is 1st.
Already November. What November challenge are you doing? Okay, girl. Come on, Worthy.
Oh, hey, Julius.
She, for those that aren't connected to YouTube, her comment was, I feel like anyone that ever has any type of self-realization journey has a period of where they dive headfirst into their own worthiness. It feels like that's the root of it. Yes, absolutely. So it's already giving. It's giving. You be on the lookout because worthiness will be a topic that we'll tap into.
And, you know, maybe Julie's might be on our horizon of a guest.
Girl, we will talk soon. But everybody have an amazing night. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Crush it. Give the space that you need. Give the space that others need. Be mindful. And peace and hair grease.
Bye, y'all.